Okay, so I want to point out a few things about the 2016 Lexus RX 350. Now, if you notice on the door, you see a giant F, and that's no coincidence. They are very keen on branding the F Sport brand, or F for the performance line of cars. And it stands for Fuji Speedway. The first LFA car, the exotic that came out, was developed there, and they've kind of built their brand from there based off the sporting packages you can get. Now, the seats on this model has three-way memory settings, so if you have several drivers for this vehicle, you can easily share without having to spend time fumbling around with the controls. One thing that comes in handy here is the expandable door compartment. So if you need, larger objects to fit on a road trip, something like that. As you can see, it doesn't have every single adjustable feature on the seat. You can't extend the front leg support. However, it does do lower lumbar, recline, the stiffness of the seat, tilt, all that. And you can slide it forward and back, of course. Now over here are some additional controls. I can explain more of that later. The bottom icon that says view is actually a pretty nifty feature on the new Lexus if you get the safety package. Now going to the steering wheel, of course you get your audio controls. The right side is going to control what's in the center gauge cluster. And you of course have this giant 12-inch screen. Now this screen is optional. It does come with an 8.1-inch standard, but the 12.3-inch is part of this package. It comes with the Mark Levinson sound system, navigation, and the works. Now that camera system I was telling you about, one of the cool things, if I hit that button, there are cameras around the vehicle. So it'll actually scan for surroundings all 360 degrees. This especially comes in handy if you're trying to park the car or trying to reverse out of a driveway. It'll actually tell you if something's there, so you don't have to freak out and wonder if you're gonna, run over something, kids left a toy, hopefully the kids aren't back there, etc. And of course that screen in the middle kind of serves multiple purposes. You can use it for climate control, the stereo, the navigation, apps, etc. Moving into the center console, now I didn't leave that bottle there by accident. What's kind of cool, on the front cup holder only, is this variable depth cup holder, so I can push down and make a little bit more room. Now that doesn't do much for a 20-ounce bottle, but if you can imagine buying one of those giant bottles at a coffee shop or gas station, stuff like that, that gives you the option to fit a larger drink without blocking too much of your space. With this model, you naturally get heated seats and cooled seats. The auto hold feature, which is this back button here, is awesome. That basically means so when you stop at a red light and hit the brakes, you can let go of the brake and it will keep you stopped, so you can just have your foot ready on the gas pedal for when the light turns green. This does not have the trackpad that you see on other cars like the Lexus NX, for example. It does use the traditional, I want to say joystick, but it is fairly intuitive because it snaps into place. You have enter buttons on both sides. Going into the right here, this is for your variable suspension, which is new for the RX 350. It's only on the F Sport model. However, what's kind of nice about it is you get to change this as far as the steering feel goes. It'll make it a little bit stiffer. It also stiffens up the suspension, etc. Now that's artificially boosted. It's not some mechanical change. It's electronically controlled for the steering. But it does give you a little bit sportier feel without having to, compromise on the ride quality, if you will. Okay, so moving on to the front, we have the F Sport front bumper, which is huge, of course. Now you have the triple stack LED headlights. That's unique to this particular package as well. It's an upgrade that you can get. They don't come as the base model because there's quite a big difference in price. LED daytime running lights, as well as fog lights down here. Now an interesting thing I want to point out is this little light right here on the left that you can't really see. If you're at low speeds, let's say 15-20 miles an hour, and you're making a sharp left, that light will come on. If you put your left blinker on while the headlights are on, that light will come on. And what that does is flood the road on the left side of the car. That way you can have better visibility, etc. Now there's an array of sensors on this car. You have the headlight washing, you have a parking sensor here, parking sensor in the grille, radar system, parking sensor, etc. So part of that 360-degree view comes from the sensors up front as well as underneath the side view mirrors, and you have the rest of your radar cruise control system in the rear view mirror. Now popping the hood, naturally it's hydraulically assisted because it's a luxury car. Now you shouldn't really ever have to be under here. The Lexus RX 350 has been the most reliable SUV in the world for a couple years now, and the First most reliable SUV is the RX 350 Hybrid. Second most is the RX 350. So they kind of own the market as far as reliability goes, and that's part of why you buy this vehicle. Now let's focus back on the front. They've drastically changed the looks. Now this is for better or worse. Anytime you have a look that is this polarizing, you're going to get people who love it and people who hate it. Now Lexus is trying to keep their core market that they've had, the customers that come back and buy it over and over, but they're also trying to draw in a younger audience. And the way you do that is more updated, modern style. Lexus has a very unique design language. You can see angles everywhere. It's still an aerodynamic car, but they don't do it with a lot of curves, they do it with a lot of angles. So, going to the front bumper, you have the lower lip. Now, comparing to the non-F Sport RX, the grille is actually the exact same size. When you get this honeycomb style grille, it makes the grille look larger, whereas the base model has the horizontal slabs, if you will. Those horizontal slots will actually make it look smaller, even though they are in fact the same size. The difference, however, comes in the lower part of the front bumper, which is much more aggressive and makes it look much lower to the ground. Now this particular model has 20-inch wheels, which is on the F Sport package. Base models come with 18s. They give you a little bit more rubber to offset it, so keep in mind that will actually ride a little bit softer over bumps because you have a lot more rubber to absorb it. Whereas the 20s will give you a little bit better steering feel, which kind of plays into the whole F Sport philosophy of having a stiffer suspension, something more dynamic and engaging to drive.